What is going on, everyone? I hope you are all having a fantastic day. So it's a fairly well-known fact at this point that the average American doesn't even have $1,000 in savings. In fact, a study done in 2019 found that just 40% of Americans could pay an unexpected $1,000 expense. So whether you are a grown-up who is providing for a family or a teenager who just got their first part-time job, today we're going to walk through exactly what you need to do immediately as soon as you save your first $1,000 so that you can put that money to work for you and start building wealth today. Plus, I'll show you where I invested just a few $100s to get a return of over 200x. All right, let's jump right into it. So if you already have your $1,000 saved up, then fantastic, you are ready to jump right in. But if you're still working on it and you're just trying to save up that first $1,000, then don't worry, because again, you are not alone, and the information in today's video is going to help prepare you for when you do save up that first $1,000. Alright, so you've got your $1,000, whether that's $1,000 in cash or $1,000 in a bank account, and let's assume for the sake of this video that you've taken care of anything that is really necessary, like an overdue bill or some other necessary expense. So the first thing that you want to do before anything else is ensure that you have that money in a high yield savings account. Now, a true high yield savings account is a little hard to come by nowadays, considering how low interest rates are across the board, but there are still some fantastic options that are on the market, and if you do currently have your money with a large national bank, then you're probably earning 0.01%, and honestly, it doesn't get much worse than that. Now, I have done countless videos on different banking options, specifically mobile banks, so definitely check out some of those videos, but you can also just look into a local credit union, because oftentimes credit unions will actually pay higher interest rates than your typical bank. Okay, so that one was kind of a boring and obvious step, but the second thing that you need to do before moving on to the next more exciting steps is evaluate your own financial situation, because that is going to drastically impact what you do with your $1,000. For example, if you are an adult who has a lot of regular expenses, or maybe you even have children or another person who is relying on you financially, then the best thing that you can probably do with that money, as boring as it may be, is just leave it in that high yield savings account as an emergency fund. If you're familiar at all with the Dave Ramsey baby steps, then you probably know that a $1,000 emergency fund is actually the very first step. And while this is by no means enough for a long-term emergency fund, it is a great place to get started. So analyze your life situation and your financial situation, and if you do have those regular expenses or others that are relying on you and are dependent on you, then you're probably better off just keeping that money in that high-yield savings account. Again, not that exciting. However, maybe you are a teenager who has saved up your first $1,000 and you don't need an emergency fund since you have someone else who is paying most of the bills for you. Or maybe you're an adult who has already established an emergency fund and you've just got an extra $1,000 that you are ready to put to work. Well, if that is you, then the best thing that you could possibly do with that money right now is invest it in Dogecoin. Okay, not that this is investing advice in any way, but as someone who cares about your financial well-being and really your overall mental health, please, how do I put this? Don't do that. I promise we will get to the investing and all of that fun stuff in 1 second, but after you have got that money in a high-yield savings account and you've established whether or not you need to put that money away into that emergency fund, the third thing that you want to do immediately as soon as you've saved up that first $1,000 is pay off any high-interest debt that you may have. I know you may be eager to go dump that money into the stock market or Dogecoin, but in reality, paying off those high-interest debts like credit cards, car loans, student loans, or anything like that is probably going to yield a higher return, and it's going to be guaranteed. Let me explain. Let's say you have $800 in credit card debt at a 20% interest rate. Well, by taking your $1,000 and paying that off immediately, you're essentially getting an instantaneous 20% return on your money guaranteed, because had you not done that, you would have been guaranteed to pay that 20% in interest. So whether it's credit card debt, car loans, student loans, or you just owe your parents $10 for Chick-fil-A, paying it off immediately is going to give you an instant guaranteed return, and I assure you there is is really no investment out there that can do that. All right, all of that stuff out of the way, the fourth step, as promised, which is probably not going to come as a surprise, is investing that money. Now, when you hear the word investing, you probably immediately think of the stock market, and that is absolutely one place where you could invest your $1,000. And I want to make it clear that especially nowadays, you do not need to have hundreds of thousands of dollars in order to build a legitimate portfolio in the stock market. There are so many services that we have looked at on this channel, like Wealthfront, Betterment, and Acorns, that allow you to invest with as little as $5 in some cases and will diversify your money across thousands of different companies in a way that would be almost impossible for you to replicate yourself. That being said, if you're looking to create income for yourself right now, then investing in the stock market may not be the best course of action. Don't get me wrong, if you're looking to start a retirement fund, then putting your $1,000 into something like a Roth IRA and leaving it alone is a fantastic idea, especially if you are younger, because compound interest and time are going to be on your side. But you're not going to see the benefits of something like that for 30 or 40 years, and I'm sure a lot of you are looking for results more in the short term. Well, lucky for you, that's where Dogecoin comes in. Still kidding. Don't do that. If you want to invest in cryptocurrency, then go for it. But my one tip to you that is not financial advice and is simply me talking to a camera alone in my house is don't dump all of your $1,000 into one investment. Meaning, don't go put all of your $1,000 into Apple or Bitcoin or any other investment. Again, building a diversified portfolio might sound like a huge headache, but there are so many services that can do that for you. And even if you don't want to use one of those, even just buying 2 or 3 different ETFs on your own is going to protect your $1,000 so much better than if you were to just go dump all of that money into one stock. And that's really important in the long term, especially if you are brand new to the stock market, because if you put all of your money into one stock or cryptocurrency or other asset and that happens to tank, then not only are you going to lose money right now, but you're also going to be completely panicky when it comes to investing in general in the future, and that is really going to affect you big time in the long term. All right, so putting those more mainstream forms of investment aside, that's actually not the best thing to do with your $1,000 in my opinion, because even if you get a decent 10% return on your $1,000, well, that's only $100 for the year, and that's really not that exciting. But what else are you supposed to do with this money? Well, as some of you may know if you've been around my channel for a long time, what I did years ago in high school when I saved up my first $1,000 was actually buying and selling laptops. I'm not going to go into too much detail in this video because the very first video on this channel is actually all about this entire process, although that video absolutely sucks. But basically, you can buy a really decent MacBook for a few $100 online or locally on a place like Facebook Marketplace, and then sell that exact same computer online for several $100 in profit. And then you can take those profits and continue to buy more computers, higher-end computers, selling higher-end computers, and making more profit. I'm literally not kidding. I started with an iPhone that I bought for $100, and all throughout high school and even my first year of college, I was constantly buying and selling electronics part-time on the side, and I was able to make several $1,000s per month doing that. So you'll definitely want to do some more research on this and how all of it works, but I highly encourage you to check this out, especially if you are a younger individual who might have some more free time on your hands, because this can be a fantastic way to get a really good return on a small investment of $1,000 or less. So that is a great place to get started, but my fifth and final recommendation to you of where you should invest your $1,000 is investing it in yourself. I know this probably sounds really cheesy, but when I say invest in yourself, I don't mean go and blow that money on a shopping spree. What I'm saying is invest in something small that could be the spark to help you grow something amazing in the future. This could be as small as something like a book on a topic that you've wanted to learn more about, or some kind of online course, or maybe even a camera to start your own YouTube channel. I mean, eventually I got tired of buying and selling laptops, so one day I literally jotted down a few ideas on a notepad about laptop flipping and recorded my first YouTube video. And yeah, that video was absolutely horrible. But I have left all of those first videos on this channel, despite them being terrible, because they are a fantastic reminder of my growth on this platform over time. So if you've got an idea or something that you've been wanting to try out for a long time, and you've got some extra cash that you can burn that you've saved up, then I cannot encourage you enough to just go for it and take that leap of faith. It doesn't even have to be something like a YouTube channel. It can literally be anything that you feel a passion for and think that you could grow into something substantial in the future. Because trust me, if you're looking at a return on your investment, then my initial investment of $100 to buy some cheap equipment has yielded a return of 200x and is growing by the day, which is a significantly higher return than anything that I would have gotten out of the stock market in such a short period of time. So let me know which of these tips you plan on utilizing for your first $1,000, and if you do have some awesome idea that you were itching to try out, then I would love to hear about that down in the comment section below as well. If you did get value out of this content, it would mean a lot to me if you would hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with someone who you think would get value out of this content as well. And as always, thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate it. Take it easy, and I'll see you in the next one.